production of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Kansas City.
Royals baseball back at Kauffman Stadium. It's game 3 of a 4-game series between the Royals and the Tigers. The Tigers have won the first 2, and now the Royals find themselves 2 games below 500. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Joe Goldberg and Jeff Montgomery will join us in a couple of segments. We knew going into the season this year, by way of Ned Yost and Dayton Moore, that the starting rotation was going to be better this year, significantly better this year. And the Royals are in the middle of the pack after being near the bottom in 2016. However, they've had a tough time figuring out the Detroit Tigers.
They've got to be able to command the baseball. Stay out of the middle. Now, you might hear us say that every night, but that's the key when you're facing hitters that are this good. The Tigers, they don't miss. Vargas, early success this year he was all around the plate, but out of the middle. When you throw pitches down that middle, they don't miss it. They're paid based on production. Find a way. Stay under their bats, please.
Offensively, the Royals have hit the skids over their last 8 games, but don't worry. When we come back, HUD's going to tell us how they're going to break out of it. Been an interesting case study, to say the least, going back to 2013. They all seem to get hot at the same time, and they all have the tendency to get cold at the same time. Interesting, though, right now, the Royals are not scoring runs in the last 8 games, but they have several hitters in the lineup who are swinging the bats well.
Without a doubt. But we're getting late. We're coming down this last stretch of July here, and it's getting a little tight. But when you have a leadoff hitter like Whitley, multi-hit Whit, that's a great start. You love a guy that can hit the ball where it's pitched and get on base. And speaking of on base, how about the number 2 hitter Ned's going with? Tony Fascio in his rookie season, man, he's amongst the leaders in those rookie categories, in a lot of those categories. Watch out, Chuck and Duck. He's getting on base. Now you want a bus driver? This is your bus driver. The meat of the order, 3, 4, and 5 are your most important hitters. Salvi, especially against Verlander, oh my goodness. He is mashing him. Look at Verlander. He almost knows it's coming before Salvi even steps in the box.
Joel and Monty are coming up, and after 2 short outings by Royals starters the last 2 nights, they'll talk about Jason Hamill and how Ned Nose needs him to go deep tonight.
Just over 7 minutes to first pitch. Joel Goldberg, Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery. Royals desperately need not just offense, but a good start tonight from Jason Hamill. And Hamill, no hitter through 5 1/3 earlier in this homestand to begin it. And then single, home run. Monty, we've talked about it so many times. He's so strong early in the game, and then things fall apart. How do you explain his struggles in the, say, 4th, 5th, or 6th innings?
Yeah, and it's really almost like a light switch goes off where his production just drops off dramatically. But I'll compare it to a runner. Some guys are really good sprinters. Some guys are really good marathoners. Some guys are good in-between guys. He's more of an in-between guy. A guy has never really been able to go really deep. I know last year with the Cubs when he won 15 games, he never went deep in games, but he still got wins.
Well, he's given up 1 run in the 1st inning all year. Good in the 2nd, then the ERA gets into the 5s and beyond after that. So they need Hamill to try to go deep in this one and get that offense going against Justin Verlander. Ryan and Hud are back next.
full-size pickup on the road. Find yours at your local Mid-America Chevy dealer. By the Missouri Lottery, every ticket played gives back to Missouri schools. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And by Thoroughbred Ford, every day there's a great deal waiting for you at Thoroughbred Ford. Tigers have won the first 2 of this series. The Royals have lost 4 of 5 since the All-Star break, but they've picked up a game in the standings as Cleveland lost again. Lineups in the first pitch are coming up next. Game 3 of 4 between the Royals and the Tigers. The Tigers have won the first 2 in decisive fashion. 10-2 in game 1, 9-3 last night. The Tigers have hit 4 home runs in the first 2 games of the series, and they have out-homered the Royals this year 14-5 in the 8 games. No JD Martinez. Now at the Diamondbacks, Jim Adduci just called up. He'll be in the lineup and will be in right field. All to face Jason Hamill, making his 19th start of the year and his 2nd since the All-Star break.
Okay, they're hoping that they can get some length out of him tonight. You see the 279 average. It's not too bad. He's been solid early in his outings. It's from the 5th inning on where he's had his trouble. Now this is his pitches selection that he used the first time he faced the Tigers this year back on May 29th. Fastball, slider, curve. Now he didn't fare so well in that outing. He only went 4 1/3 innings, 4 runs he gave up, 4 walks. So he wants to make sure he keeps the ball down and out of the middle. We know what's happened the first 2 games of this series. Guys have been getting hit hard, so just kind of make sure that try to get ahead if you can, but just try to stay on the corners and down.
Ian Kinsler is 5 out of 11 in the first 2 games. No surprise. Always at his best, it seems, when facing the Royals. 1 ball, 1 strike. Has in .477 in his last 10 games against the Royals, and 8 multi-hit games in his last 10 games against the Royals.
The ultimate pro. 12-year veteran, knows how to hit, knows how to play the game defensively as well. He's very short to the ball, doesn't have a lot of movement in his swing. He's got strong hands, but he's a guy who's a grinder.
Off the end of the bat, and of course a base hit. Seems like every time Kinsler puts a bat on the ball, even when he's fooled, he ends up with a base hit.
Great head position. All right, forward around the horn, Royals defense. We're going to highlight Alex Gordon. Why? Because he has plus 12 defensive run saves, best among Major League Baseball left fielders. I told you, but the numbers will back it up. I've never seen a left fielder in my years of playing, when I played with some good ones, Vince Coleman, Tim Raines, a Hall of Famer going in this year. He played a good left field. Alex Gordon's the best left fielder I've ever seen, period.
Alex Avila with a runner at first base. The numbers, if you go by defensive runs saved, will tell you we have the 2 best left fielders in the major leagues in this series. Fouled away by Avila. Well, Joel and Monty were just talking about Jason Hamill's last start on Friday. 5 1/3 hitless innings, and he gave up the 3-run home run. Very similar to his first start against the Tigers this year. You showed the pitch breakdown, HUD, but he began with 4 scoreless innings and then got into trouble in the 5th. He walked 3. They all scored. So he's had a few starts this year where he's been like a house of fire in the first 4 or 5 innings.
And they usually catch him. But one of those signs that we've seen him now a lot of starts this year is that he's slows the tempo down to where it's almost like the hitters are saying, all right, we have him thinking now. His body language is saying that he's not confident. That's why he wants to continue to keep a good tempo going best he can. His team leading 19th start of the year, so we've seen him a little bit now, and so has the league.
So many pitchers will say, well, if you're going to get him, you better get him in the first inning. Well, that does not apply to Jason Hamill. You've got no chance, the numbers will say, in the first inning.
Pretty good.
1 run allowed in the first in his 18 starts. That is the best first inning ERA in the major leagues.
He's shown over his last 18 starts that his slider has been his out pitch with 2 strikes. So we'll see. Avila, good fastball hitter, has a good eye. This year's having one of his best seasons ever. He's in that 2 hole because he can put the ball in play.
One and 2 on Avila.
His dad's the general manager of the ball club. Gave him a 1-year deal. Said, all right, son, let's go. I'll give you more if you can show us you can hit. And he had some concussion issues, you know, a few years back. There's Pops, and he's healthy this year, and so he's delivering. His head's clear. His body feels good. There's an out.
Kane makes a play in left center field, 1 down. And names that have come up as potential trades for the Tigers. Well, we saw one of them last night, JD Martinez. You hear the name Justin Wilson come up, their left-handed reliever, and Alex Avila's name comes up. So father, you know, when Alex sees his dad's number pop up on his cell phone, it may not be hoping you're coming over on Sunday for dinner after the game.
Yeah, good game, son. No, it could be. You never know. But you know, when he sent out JD Martinez, that they got close, he said it was a little emotional. Alex or Al Avila, you can become attached to your players. There's no doubt about it. I know Dayton is attached to his.
0-1 on Justin Upton. 2 out of 9 in the first 2 games.
Hamill loved to get a double play here, but he's a fly ball pitcher. In 100 innings in a third coming into this game, he's only induced 2 ground ball double plays.
You had a chance to visit with Justin Upton, and what a difference a year makes. Last season at this time, 236, 10 home runs, 39 driven in. At the moment, 269, 15 home runs, 56 driven in now that he's been through the league.
Exactly. He's a confident hitter, and he's dangerous. His speed, he's been showing me something. Last night, that bag that he stole, that was his 7th steal. Caught everyone by surprise, including Salvi. Threw the ball away, gave Salvi an error, and he ended up scoring another run. Just tells you what right now about the Tigers. The Tigers tonight have a chip on their shoulder. Same chip the Royals have had on their shoulder at times, but they're tired of people telling them they're done. And then with the trade, they just added another log on the fire. They got a little positive energy going from that. Hey, let's just stay together, guys. Come on, we're not going anywhere. Same thing goes around in every clubhouses. Kinsler's got 7 steals, been caught 4 times. That's why Hamill is taking a little approach to him.
Jammed. And Kinsler will make the turn. So 2 soft hits, and runners at first and third with 1 out.
Kept his hands inside. That's a fastball that's in. If he pulls that, it's an easy out and a possible double play. So you got to credit the hitter Upton for that. See how he kept his hands in. They didn't roll until he was already made contact. That's the whole key. Hands. Guys that roll on contact hit the little ground ball double plays. Smart swing there, and he got a hit. Got rewarded for it.
No, 2 on for Miguel Cabrera, 2 out of 9 with 2 singles and 1 run scored in the first 2 games of the series. Jason Hamill's had the ability to elevate his game in situations like this. Won his average with runners in scoring position. 5th best in the American League.
Excellent mark. It's because of that slider. He's got good depth to it, and it's a fooler.
2-0 on Cabrera.
This guy's tough. 45 RBIs for Cabrera does not lead the team. Castellanos has 54. Cabrera is excellent at staying inside the ball, shooting the ball to right field. He has rolled up into 11 ground balls.
Two and one. Slow tempo to begin the game, and you brought that up right away, and it's taken 10 minutes to throw 15 pitches.
He's trying to guide his way through this here, but he's definitely is slowing the game down. Upton doesn't look like he's going anywhere. Didn't have a big lead.
Good pitch. 2-2 on Cabrera.
There it is. Looks good. Starts belt high. See how he stays on the side of the ball. Look at the dot. See the dot on the baseball? You can see it in super slow motion, but you also can see that dot as a hitter. And it, but doesn't, of course, it's a split second or two, but you can see the dot on the seams.
Upton runs, and it's fouled away.
Osmus doing a good job putting him on the run. That there, you're increasing your chances of a ground ball to score that run. Kinsler at third by moving the runner. Chances are you're not going to double him up unless it's just hit hard right at somebody.
Not running this time, and Cabrera grounds it softly to Merrifield, so there's only 1 out. And the Kinsler leadoff single turns into a run, and that's just the second run all year in the first inning against Hamill, and that's the first RBI in this series for Miguel Cabrera. And now his next will be 1,600. Now tied with Nap Lajoie for 36th on the all-time list. Before Lajoie, he passed George Brett on the all-time RBI list. And now Castellanos. That's hit well to center field, but right at Kane. So the hardest hit ball is an out. A couple of bloops turn into base hits, and the Tigers take a 1-0 lead. Merrifield, Bonifacio, and Kane coming up against Justin Verlander. Cabrera, RBI ground down. Here's the Royals lineup tonight. Royals offense averaging under 2.5 runs per game in their last 8. In the 24 before that, they were averaging just under 6 runs per game. And we'll just see what they'll do tonight against Justin Verlander, who has a 4.66 earned run average in his first 19 starts.
Okay. First 2 starts of the season against the Royals, he used fastball, slider, curve, change, and there's the percentages that he used them. So look, heater. He's got interesting velocity. He can add and subtract big time with that pitch. Turns it into 2 or 3 different pitches by changing speeds on it. He's going to average about 95, and that's pretty good. That's pretty strong for a man at 34 years old. 6'5", 225 pounds. He's a veteran that knows how to pitch.
Oh, and 2 on Witt. It's interesting. You have to go back to 2011. 6 years ago was the last time he averaged 95 with his fastball. There was a steady decline. He went up a little bit last year and had a good year, and now back up to 95 again. That doesn't normally happen. It's Jim Adduci going into foul ground to take care of Merrifield. 1 away.
Hey, right on cue. That's the young man just got called up by the Tigers. That's right. He's out there in right field. Nice player. Good athlete. Not a big throwing arm for right field, but he's a pretty good hitter. Sprays the ball around. Line drive hitter. Spent the last couple of seasons in Korean League trying to improve on his batting skills, and it worked. He's back here in the big leagues.
Out to Adduci again. 2 down.
Interesting how that ball will find you, huh? First start. Put the first 2 outs away.
Verlander last year Talking about a bounce back for him. He nearly won the Cy Young Award. It ended up going to his former teammate Rick Porcello of the Red Sox. 3.04 ERA. Opponent's batting average 207. A 1 whip with big strikeouts. He led the league in strikeouts, but his ERA is spiked. Opponent's batting average, his whip, is the 5th highest in the American League, dealing with an average of 1.5 runners every inning.
Tough to stay on the mountaintop. Major League Baseball is not easy.
Oh, 2 on Kane. 6 pitches, all strikes for Verlander. Highest in the American League. Justin Verlander typically is not in that category when you're talking about highest in the American League. Walks and hits per innings pitched. He has a 7-pitch 1-2-3 all strikes, bottom of the 1st inning.
Tigers leading the Royals, and Jorge Bonifacio back out in right field. Joel Goldberg down by the dugout. Jorge just running by right now to take some practice out in right. DH'd last night, but really as he continues to improve in right field, he's also making adjustments, guys, at the plate. And we saw that he had some struggles a little bit before the All-Star break and has finally been back to hitting with a 9-game hitting streak going right now. League started to pitch him up a lot more, and we'll certainly see plenty of that from Verlander. Look at the pick there from Whit Merrifield, making that play from shallow right field and making it look easy. But getting back to Bonifacio, he recognized that they were pitching him upstairs, so he tried to make that adjustment. But Dale Swaim, the hitting coach, told me that in laying off of that high stuff, he also started laying off of some really good fastballs. Good curveball hitter, but was backing off a little bit on strikes that were fastballs. You've got to be able to hit the fastball in this league. He's starting to do that more and back in the groove.
Believe it, Joel. It's hard to change stripes. Believe it. You have to stay convicted and stay at it. And when you start Tommy hawking a few of them high fastballs, they'll stop doing it. Believe it.
Jim Adduci back up with the Tigers. It'll be foul. Hud mentioned that he played the last 2 seasons in Korea. In 2013, Jim Adduci made his big league debut after 10 years and 889 minor league games. A one-time 42nd round draft pick. 1-2.
Not giving up. Believing in his ability. Not being afraid to go to uncharted waters and territory, Korea, and say, I'm gonna see what I can learn over there. And that league, the Japanese league, the Mexican league, they're all premium breaking ball leagues, so you can be a better hitter. Really got it there in time.
And Adduci is getting a shot because the Tigers traded JD Martinez to the Arizona Diamondbacks, who, if not for the Dodgers, are having a really good year. They're on pace to win 100 games, but they're 10.5 games back in the West. So JD Martinez taking his power bat to Arizona. Tigers got 3 minor league prospects in return. JD Martinez, after striking out in his first at bat with the Diamondbacks, was hit on the wrist in Cincinnati later in the game and had to leave the game. Alex Presley takes outside for ball 1. Presley was in right field last night after the trade was announced. Taking a little glance at the right side of the infield. Maybe thinking about dropping down a bunt.
You can do the little things. At one point in Presley's career, he thought he was a power hitter. He's not really that big. Hit a couple of minor league home runs and then thought he was could hit homers, and then quickly thought, you know what, I don't know if my chances of getting to the big leagues are going to be that way. Utilize the speed, keep the ball on the ground. Spray hitter.
That'll be back into the crowd. 2-1. Figuring out who you are as quickly as possible and not having wasted at bats, wasted games, or in some cases wasted years trying to be someone other than what you were designed to be.
Yep, it's happened to many a player.
$22,000 here last night, 26,000 in attendance for game 1 of the series. Looks like the biggest crowd so far. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Of course, it is Game of Thrones night.
Star Wars feature, huh? Movie? Is that a Star Wars movie? Oh. I guess not. I'm not a big Star Wars fan.
Kane into right center field. 3 up, 3 down.
Don't leave me hanging. What is it?
It's not Star Wars.
Okay, my bad.
That's the clones.
Okay.
Happened after our game last night. The Yankees and the White Sox made a trade. Yankees get a third baseman. They get a late inning reliever, David Robertson, who actually returns to the Yankees. Tommy Kahnle, another hard throwing reliever. Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. Would you have guessed Todd Frazier when I said who has the most home runs by a third baseman since 2012?
No, but I'm surprised that we haven't had that on our sprint trivia question.
Hosmer hits it deep but foul off to the left field side, way back into the seats. So one third baseman has moved from one team to another, and it was pretty obvious the White Sox were going to move Todd Frazier. Hosmer 4 out of 9 with a home run and 2 driven in the first 2 games.
See that picture of Frazier standing next to Derek Jeter on the field by chance?
When he was a kid?
Yeah.
After they won the Little League World Series?
I didn't know that. I saw that today watching MLB, and I was like, wow, you know what? That's a dream come true for him.
Sort of. There's actually a funny part of that story. I mean, you would think it was. He's from New Jersey, and they won the Little League World Series, Todd Frazier, so they get to go to Yankee Stadium, and Frazier, who was the hero, got to stand next to Derek Jeter, which, you know, was the dream of every kid in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, you name it. But he was bummed out because his favorite player was Paul O'Neill. He wanted to stand next to Paul O'Neill.
Oh.
Probably the only kid along the eastern seaboard at that time that had the opportunity to stand next to Derek Jeter during the national anthem and wasn't happy about it. Another third baseman that was supposed to be on the trading block, Martin Prado of the Marlins. University of Kansas Health System injury report update. But he was placed on the disabled list yesterday with a sprained right knee. Third time he has been on the disabled list. He got a big contract extension when we were in town last year, I believe.
He's a leader. Not so sure that the Marlins would have parted with him, but what a bummer in case they were thinking about shopping him and a player goes on the disabled list, then now you're stuck. Throw those plans away. Meantime, Haas is working it here. He's down 1-2 in the count. Very confident, obviously, against Verlander. Guy he's faced 82 times in his career. I mean, we have obviously with them being in the same division, and none of the Royals players ever changing uniforms. You can just know that they're going to have a lot of at-bats against a guy who's been with the Tigers his entire career too. So, I mean, that's a lot of ABs.
Verlander gets him with a fastball riding away. 2 strikeouts for Verlander.
Look at the movement on that pitch there. Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about. That's is that a changeup? You see him hold that grip?
Power change.
What the heck? That's and then he'll go up to 95, 96, 97 miles an hour. He has that ability to change speeds off of that fastball, no matter how he's holding the grip. That was funky. It had some riding action away from Haas. A well-purposed and planned pitch.
Upstairs to Salvi. An in-between pitch. You got the fastball timed, and Salvi's had Verlander timed. Highest average, most doubles, most RBIs for any hitter all time against Justin Verlander. But you get the fastball timed, and then with a changeup or an off speed, you have a split second to reload. You don't have that luxury with that in-between pitch. One and two.
You know, you learn a lot of tricks of the trade as you're growing up and you're evolving in the game. Verlander, he's now in his 12th season. He's learned a lot. Fastball pitcher like him that has that type of high ceiling to low ceiling. We should see him throw upper 90s and 100 earlier in his career. And once he had a few little injuries that he went through, he had to change up a little bit. No, that didn't feel very good.
That came up and got him in the throat.
Little stinger. Dangerous. Was in the minor leagues one time. Got young pitchers throw hard. Guy was throwing close to 100 miles an hour. Foul tip hit the umpire right in the throat. Didn't lose the umpire, but they almost did. They had an ambulance had to come. It didn't crush his esophagus, but it was close. I mean, that ball does bad things to you when, especially up underneath that mask. So they started coming out with those little shin protectors that kind of come down and protect the throat.
It was like a shoehorn.
Yeah.
The first one was a shoehorn.
Right.
Omar Vizquel just became the most decorated water boy in Major League history. 11 Gold Gloves. Running out there with a little cup of water for Alex Avila.
Yep, service.
I think it went back to Steve Yeager. Remember him? Dodger catcher. Didn't he get a broken bat to the throat? And he then took basically a shoehorn, a big shoehorn, and he hung it from his mask to protect him from anything coming up and hitting him in the throat.
And it was attached by a piece of leather, so it kind of swung a little bit. It was kind of flexible.
Castellanos in foul ground. 2 outs. Verlander's retired the first 5. Now he gets Mike Moustakas, who has 63 career at-bats against Verlander. He is 2 for 8 in this series. Center field deep, and he didn't quite get it. Still strong enough to drive it to the wall. So a 410-foot fly ball to center. 1-0 Tigers. Acknowledging the strong tech presence in the KC community. Tech Night is tomorrow as we wrap up this series with the Tigers. It's presented by Konica Minolta, and this theme ticket comes with a custom Royals portable power bank and a seat for the game. Royals.com/theme tickets. And it's Danny Duffy and Michael Fulmer tomorrow night. Strike from Jason Hammel to Jose Iglesias.
Both of those guys, they're tough to hit. Could be a low scoring affair.
Oh, 2 on Iglesias. Started game 1 on Monday and was 1 for 4. Dixon Machado was at shortstop last night for the Tigers. Had a good defensive game. Also drove in a run and scored a run. Dixon Machado. One and 2.
Tell you what, he made some nice defensive plays. They have an excellent backup shortstop. He was good.
Two and 2 on Iglesias. Jason Hammel gave up a couple of bloop hits in the first inning, and then Miguel Cabrera with a soft ground ball, not hit hard enough for a double play, drove in Ian Kinsler to give the Tigers the lead. Still 2 and 2. Tigers have won 4 of 5 since the All-Star break. They are 4.5 games back in the Central in 4th place. 2 games behind the Royals. Out into left center field. Kane is there, and he's got it. Indians lost 2 out of 3 at San Francisco, losing earlier today. Minnesota took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, winning earlier today. So the Minnesota Twins a half game out in the Central. The Royals 2.5 back.
Hey, nice little string of fortune here while you're in a losing streak. The Royals are. They're about ready to come out of it, though. Peaks and valleys the game is. But to start the first 2 games of this 4-game series, the pitching, you know, the Royals starters have just missed too much in the middle of the plate, and the Tigers have just mopped them up. And the offense, you couple that with some silent bats and not hitting too much, there you go.
One and 1 on Kinsler, who singled and scored in the first inning. Now the Tigers are one of the best in the league against lefties, and we saw that against Vargas and Wood in the first 2 games. Not so much against righties. Up the middle, Merrifield, left side of second base, plants his feet and throws in the dirt, but Hosmer digs it out. 2 down.
Boy, I'm gonna tell you what, that play there, he made it look easy, but because he's blessed with such a strong throwing arm, that's the reason he was able to get him out. Watch him plant his feet. That's the important thing. That back leg there comes right over the top. Short pick for Haas. That's routine. He picks those in his sleep. But nice play by Whitley. That's right. That's a cap tipper. A lot of second basemen will jump in the air and they'll try to throw it and make it look pretty and he's safe. Well, you'll say, well, it ain't had much of a chance. When you plant that back leg and get on top and throw it with some conviction, there you go. Big play for Hammel.
Ball 1 on Alex Avila.
Now he's out there in shallow right there. He's playing a little bit of roving second base.
Avila flied to center in the first inning. One and 1. 1-2. Good movement on that fastball from Hamill.
Okay, this year Alex is hitting the ball really well. You can see where he's staying right in the middle of the field. Very important to see. Now you have Escobar right here, and you got Whitley out here. Okay, that's where they're defending him, based on not just our graphics, but that's where they're playing him, and they have their own hitting charts. Those are ours, our numbers. They get similar numbers there, but that's what the responsibility of the infield coach is, to line all that up, and they usually take care of those meetings and things in the first game of a series. Meetings. Same way with the hitting coach. The hitting coach will get all the hitters together like a teacher would in a classroom. And he says, okay guys, here's our guys, here's the three we're going to face this series. We'll go over tonight's guy first, and then they go over them. They have questions, they raise their hand. You know, probably not, but I mean, I'm just saying, it's like a classroom. It's a shooting. They shoot the bull around.
Need permission to use the bathroom?
No. But it's disrespectful if you walk out on the instructor and when he's trying to instruct.
Hamill's retired 8 in a row. 1-0 Detroit. Husband passed away. She created the Jeff Floatman Foundation to continue his legacy of giving back. Through this foundation, she has been able to provide funding for Avenue of Life, an organization that was important to her husband and empowers the less fortunate. Lori and the Jeff Floatman Foundation created a golf tournament that has raised $15,000 for Avenue of Life. And through the foundation, Lori is able to continue her husband's legacy of giving back to the community and improving the lives of those around them, and sitting in the Buck O'Neil legacy seat at tonight's game.
Congratulations, Lori. Jeff Montgomery used to be neighbors of Lori, and he says you folks are a wonderful family and big-hearted people. Thank you.
Big rip by Escobar. And why not? Escobar has hit over 400 against the Tigers this year. He has hit almost 340 in his last 32 games, getting his average up to 234.
And you know, you just know that when he got hit the other night and he couldn't feel his wrist, as he's walking off the field and he's going down in there and they're checking him out, he's saying, my season's over. Can't believe it. And then the good news comes that there's no break or anything, and he's like, whoa, I got new life now. And you could tell last night the way he was swinging the bat, he looked good. Oh, you just never know in this game, one play to the next.
Great Jason Vargas line in regard to Escobar, who always seems to bounce back from an ugly looking player injury. He's like a shark, no bone, all cartilage.
Yeah, that's a good. Hey, that's right on his hands.
"32 games ago, Alcides Escobar was hitting .178. So that's a good looking .234 up on the scoreboard right now, all things considered. Kinsler out and over from second base. On the line, foul ball catch, says first base umpire Mark Rippiger. One away in the third inning. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is back with better picture quality than ever before. Watch every out-of-market game live at home, in the office, or on the go. Blackout restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. John Pope providing the pictures tonight.
Great shot.
Oh, 0-1 on Brandon Moss. 0 for 3 with a walk on Monday night. Jorge Bonifacio was the Royals' designated hitter last night. Belted to right field, into the corner, off the pole. Home run number 11 for Brandon Moss to tie the game at 1.
Nice time to check back in. His 3rd career home run off of Verlander and just his 5th hit. It just floated there. That's center cut, little spinner that just spun. Very nice to see that. All right, good for Moss. Look at that little back leg bend there. Leverage, good extension, and he hits his 11th right off the fair pole.
Down and in on Alex.
July 1st. That's the first home run since July 1st for Brandon Moss. Way to check in.
Alex is 2 for 8 in the first 2 games of the series. We've been talking about Royals hitters who have a lot of experience against Justin Verlander. Well, none more than Alex Gordon. 92 at-bats, 12 walks, so 104 plate appearances against Verlander.
Wow, incredible. He's got 3 home runs off him. Ooh, got him there.
Verlander strikes out his 3rd. 2 down.
Oh, this will just lock you up here. That's a jelly legger, they call that. Good breaker.
That's a good one. I haven't seen that one before.
I like it too.
Now a slider. Witt fouled out to right fielder Jim Adduci in the first inning. He has a chance to tie a Royals record tonight if he hits a double. That would be 6 consecutive games with the double. He's really going to have to hustle. Now he'll hold with a single.
I believe he will. He'll take it too. He'll fight that baby off. Now the 10 doubles he has this month, that's the most in the majors in July. 10. It's pretty good. Whitley, he can get that double in a heartbeat. because he's got good speed and he doesn't have to hit it in the gap to do it. Good inside out swing on a ball down the middle. See, he was trying to go that way. Clever. That's right.
And now taking credit. Getting a little cocky down there.
She's
you know,
showing it off.
was my sign is the reason why he got a base hit.
And I think she wanted Whitley to see the sign. That's the reason she was pointing out to the field. But then once she thought the cameras were off her, she had to show her buddies.
Right.
And it's impressive, and not just what it said, but you know, the paint or whatever she used on it looked professionally done.
I think it was oil paint. That's what he was using.
And Verlander, very good move. Quick feet. Loves his move. Verlander's a nice athlete.
The Witt break another belt?
I don't know, but the leather belt to me is too heavy. I never wore a leather belt. It's too heavy. I always wore that little nylon one, you know, that had a little, you know, the kind your kids wear in Little League. I wanted it flexible. The leather belt to me was too heavy, too bulky, along with the tight pants.
It was a heck of a look. Witt started to run. He stopped. So Avila throws to first. And he's back in time. Our Toyota leaderboard for tonight. 9-game hitting streak in the American League for Bonifacio is second only to the Astros' Jose Altuve. Bonifacio has also reached base in 22 consecutive games. 1 ball, 1 strike. That is the 3rd longest streak for a Royals rookie all time. 22 consecutive games reaching base.
Verlander has 29 career pickoffs, so Whitley's going to have to not get too friendly over there. And Avila's thrown out 23% of runners, which is a good mark. It's quick. And Verlander's starting to spin it now. He's working his slider, his curve. He's trying to keep the aggressive Royals off of the fastball.
And then a fastball at 97 over the outside. Verlander strikes out 2 in the 3rd inning, but Brandon Moss ties the game with a home run off the right field pole.
Take it, maybe.
Stadium, where it is 1-1 through 3. Cheer on Alex Gordon on Thursdays in his fan section Gordonation for only $35. You get a seat in left field, a limited edition Charlie Hustle brand t-shirt, and an Alex Gordon big head. For tickets, go to Royals.com/theme tickets. Alex was the 2nd overall pick in the 2005 draft. The 1st overall pick is at the plate right now, Justin Upton. Those are, as Ryan pointed out before, the 2 best left fielders in baseball by defensive runs saved. Guys had a chance to talk to Upton about that a little earlier. And going back to the draft, he said that he knew that he and Alex would go 1-2. That's what all the experts were saying. But he thought that Arizona might end up taking Alex first because he was the more established college player. And he was very aware of the great season that Alex was having in Nebraska, knowing that those guys could go at the top of the draft. That would have ended up meaning that if Alex had gone to Arizona, Upton would have actually been a Royal. Now, all of these years later, Upton, who debuted at 19 years old, was drafted as a shortstop. Gordon, who debuted at 23 years old and was drafted as a 3rd baseman, are among the 2 best, if not the best, in left field. Justin telling me I could have never envisioned that would be the case, but he says he watches Alex all the time, tries to pick up pointers and improve, and his advice for hitters, including himself, don't hit it to left field.
Joel, did I hear you say Gordon had a big head?
Well, you've explained that many times, so I'll let you go again. Thanks for grasping that story, Hud.
Wow. Look, Alex, he's a very humble guy. Does not have a big head, although they do give him away here at the ballpark. Way to go, Joel. Must be nice to have that kind of talent. And we bragged on Alex, how he saved the most runs of any left fielder so far in all of baseball this year. Upton's not too bad himself, but he's not in Alex's league. Sorry.
Moustakis throws out Upton. How about the Upton family? You know, Justin's older brother went by BJ for a while, then Melvin. Justin was the 1st overall pick, as Joel just reported. Melvin was the 2nd overall pick in 2002. Both made it to the big leagues at the age of 19 as shortstops. Both ended up being major league outfielders. And they both hit their 100th career home run on the same day.
Wow.
In 2012. They were the first sets of brothers to have a 2020 season the same year, 2011. Crazy.
That's really talking about the stars lining up for brothers, and that's pretty impressive.
Miguel Cabrera hit a slow ground ball to the right side in the 1st inning and drove in Ian Kinsler from 3rd. If he hit it a little harder, Hamill may have gotten out of that inning with a ground ball double play. So the Tigers have scored 20 runs in the first 3 games of the series, and Cabrera has driven in 1. Out into right center field. Kane is there for the 2nd out. That's 10 in a row set down by Hamill. Nicholas Castellanos lined out to center field his first time up. Man, what a series for him. Our Kubota Power Stats: 7 driven in the first 2 games, 6 hits, 3 home runs.
His path to the ball is beautiful. He's got excellent head position, stays down right through it. I bet he's a good golfer too. Just by watching him hit that baseball, where he keeps his hands inside and through the ball and straight away.
He has a base hit to left field with 2 down. Tigers have their first hit since the 1st inning.
Missouri Lottery Fox Track show you that 4-seam fastball, split the dish right down the middle. Now a little bit ahead of it, got it off the end of the bat. That's good, because if he barrels it, could be more trouble. Center cut.
Former high school teammates having a little chat over at first base. Castellanos and Eric Hosmer. Strike to Victor Martinez. Grounded out sharply to Merrifield in the second inning. Castellanos and Eric Hosmer went to American Heritage High School in Miami. Devin Marrero, who's with the Red Sox, was also a teammate in high school. And we got a chance to see Eric and Devin share a laugh or two on the field when the Red Sox were in town. In fact, Devin made a great play to take a base hit away from Eric.
I remember. Robbed him. It's a totally different deal when you're competing out here in the big leagues with one of your good friends. It brings up the competition to where it never gets any higher, unless maybe you might be in postseason or something, and you really want bragging rights.
So what are they talking about right now? Remember Mr. Jones, science teacher in 9th grade? What's he doing now?
Exactly. And you know what? That's the truth. It could be anything.
That's well hit into right center field. Lorenzo Cain all the way back. He's got it. Oh. The ballpark held it. There's a bit of a crosswind from right to left that helped out some. It's just a long out to the track. Whew.
Colorado, check it out. Arenado, the third baseman. This guy's putting on some kind of clinic, both defensively and with the bat in his hand. 5 for 6, 3 home runs on the day, 7 steaks. Really? He's pretty good at baseball, I'll say. Wow, Colorado blew him out. They're trying to hang in there, at least for a wild card spot.
There's your Star Wars dragon.
Hey, there he is. I don't remember that dead character. Winter is coming. What does that mean? That's over my head there.
Winter's coming.
Can you help me with that, partner?
That's a Game of Thrones line, HUD. Not to be confused with Attack of the Clones. That's a Star Wars movie.
Thank you. I knew I could count on you.
Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, and Salvador Perez in the 4th inning. Tigers took the lead on Cabrera's RBI groundout in the 1st. Brandon Moss homered against Verlander in the 3rd. 2-0 on Cain. Verlander struck him out in the 1st inning.
This game so far is like a chess match. Who blinks first? There's not any hit and rallies going on here.
Two and one.
Got a guy like Verlander that throws every pitch east. He's got east movement, west movement, north and south. Makes it tough for a hitter. Just kind of zone him, put him in a certain spot. Look there. 2-1, driving count. Look for it. Ooh. Right idea.
Ducey makes a play in right field. Kane is 0 for 2. And now Eric Hosmer to the plate with one down. Kia puts us in the driver's seat. And Eric Hosmer has hit safely in 19 of his last 20 games. He has driven in 14. 10 multi-hit games in his last 20. He has 111 hits, 4th in the American League.
Use the whole field like that. That's what happens. You become an all-around hitter and another guy that's tough to pitch to. But he definitely understands that going the other way to the opposite field, you see those American League ranks there by him. Very nice. Everything but the on-base percentage in the top 10 is that when he pulls the ball, his average is 197, but when he goes up the middle opposite field, he's figured it out. It's 436. Check it out. Ah, money on this side of the field. There you go. Opens it up. But they've been jamming him, trying to jam him in all year long, but they make mistakes.
Still 0-2 on Hosmer. Right to Iglesias, so he's trying to go the other way. 2 down. Every Friday home game at Kauffman Stadium through August is Buck Night and Summer Fireworks. All the hot dogs and peanuts you want with Buck Night, presented by Price Chopper and Heinz. And then Summer Fireworks presented by Popsicle and Price Chopper. So we got one coming up in 2 nights with the Chicago White Sox here. Ian Kennedy against former Royal James Shields. Ball 1 on Salvador Perez. Our producer Kevin Cedergren, the pride of the state of Vermont, has informed me that today is National Hot Dog Day.
Huh.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Or what happens, but it's National Hot Dog Day.
Is this when they have that hot dog eating contest on today, or is that's over the 4th of July holiday weekend, right? Okay.
Into the corner, foul by a foot. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Oh, he just got a little bit too much of his right hand, his top hand, and as he dominated over his bottom hand, hooked it just barely.
Full count. You ever been to a hot dog eating contest before?
No, I haven't. I've watched them on TV. They're interesting. Have you?
If I had to choose between going to a hot dog eating contest and starting my hair on fire, which one do you think I'd choose?
Well, I would hope that you wouldn't do that, but Verlander won that time.
3 up, 3 down for the Royals in the bottom of the 4th. But eat your heart out. Going further so you can. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Steamy night in Kansas City and a 1-1 tie to the 5th inning. RBIs for the Tigers, Miguel Cabrera, and Brandon Moss is on a home run after giving up 2 hits to the first 3 batters that he faced tonight. Jason Hamill has knocked down 11 of the last 12 Tigers, and he gets the lower 3rd in the 5th inning. Ducey pops it up into shallow center. Kane is there for the out. Ducey is 0 for 2.
Man, it's nice to have speed, be able to play center field. Go left, right, back, in, everywhere, anywhere that ball goes, you follow it. And when Hamill's pitching, you know you're going to get some action. He's a fly ball pitcher. You know that going in. Sometimes when your pitcher's a sinker ball pitcher, you're an outfielder, you're going, all right, I get the day off. But you're on a little bit of your awareness is heightened a little bit when you know that Hamill's pitching. Low Kane so far is running him down for him.
Curveball for a strike. 1-1 on Alex Presley. Right to Merrifield. 2 down in the 5th inning. On Saturday, the Royals, in their series with the White Sox, will be giving away the next bobblehead in the Memorable Moments bobblehead series. The first 20,000 fans receive an Eric Hosmer bobblehead presented by Rally House, commemorating his game-tying dive into home plate in the 9th inning of Game 5 of the 2015 World Series. Royals.com, an area Price Chopper location, or 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Here's Iglesias. He takes a strike. In game 1 of this series, the Tigers had 7 runs when they came up in the 5th inning. They had 5 runs when they came up in the 5th inning last night, and then added a 6th in the 5th. Just outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. And tonight, Jason Hamill has given up 1 run, 3 hits in his first 4 2/3. One and 2.
Good setup pitch there. He came in hard. Now he's going to use a little breaker away, probably. Both pitchers tonight, Verlander, Hamill, spinning the ball nicely. Hey, okay, now he's going to stay with the fastball. See where he puts it.
Jammed him.
Good spot.
So make it Hamill retiring 14 of the last 15. The bottom of the 5th inning after a couple of Detroit blowout wins in the first 2. And time for our sprint trivia question. Who are the top 4 career strikeout leaders for the Detroit Tigers?
Wow. Okay, there's one. Okay, Verlander.
Jack Morris.
Okay, Mickey Lolich. One more.
Don't rush into it, Hud.
Okay, look, you know, my brain doesn't work that quick anyway, but look, I want to say the closer who was the MVP, but the closer's not going to have the most strikeouts.
No.
MVP.
Because you're going 1 inning at
a
time.
My bad. Look, I just.
Willie Hernandez?
Yeah. I like him. He's one of my favorite.
How about
pitchers.
Max Scherzer?
Ooh.
He's there for a while. That is not correct. If you give a moose a baseball, he's going to hit it.
That's right. Give him a cookie. How about more like a cookie? Right down the middle. Nope, not that.
What about Billy Chappell? He had a heck of a career with the Tigers, didn't he?
Huh.
That was a great movie, wasn't it?
I liked
For
it.
love of the game.
I know that.
Stock is unloading on 3-0. 3 balls, 1 strike. Dave Island was a stand-in for Kevin Costner in that movie.
I'd heard that too.
Great movie. Great baseball movie, but it's not all about baseball. Play-by-play done by Vin Scully.
It's not one of the best pictures we've ever seen of Dave. Dave's concentrating now. He's thinking ahead. What's going on? He's doing some heavy paperwork. This is his office, by the way, right there. It's not one of them. I mean, he has another one inside the club, the locker room.
Still alive. It popped out of Avila's glove. That fastball was at 98.
Okay, it was 94, 96, 98. He's kept adding, and he's challenging Moose. That's what he's doing. Moose, lucky that Avila didn't hold on to that one. Look at that, all in about the same spot. Now Moose he's geared up on that fastball. Let's see if Verlander, he continues to keep him in swing mode here, challenges him. It's a macho man game right here. I can get you. I'll blow it by you. Moose is saying, all right, try it again. Oh, man, we missed that one. Moose has been missing. Now, he didn't miss
98 miles an hour.
No, but look, he hasn't been missing all year long on fastballs. And I've seen over the last 6, 7, 8 games since the break, on pitches that he normally gets, he just gets under it. He's just missing him a tick. Now, it won't take long for a hitter to, once he gets it, it'll be like back on the bike again. He's up and riding. But that's 4 heaters in a row. Wonder if he'll put the wrinkle on him. Yeah, here it comes.
5 strikeouts for Verlander.
That was nice there. It was all fair until he did this. Our Mo Lottery Fox tracks to show you he, dirty dog, he went ahead and spun the ball like that. Looked like a fastball. Had him in swing mode. That's how pitchers have the upper hand on hitters. Especially a guy like Verlander who adds and subtracts off the heater. It's like having different pitches. Change of speed, getting the hitter off balance. The pitcher's off balance, he makes mistakes. Hadn't seen any mistakes. Now the one that Moss hit out, I think Verlander will say that was a cookie. It's down the middle. Moss hit his 11th home run off the fair pole back in the 3rd inning. The Royals' only run.
Got him with a slider away, so he's mixing not just his fastball and his breaking ball, but his fastball and his breaking balls, curveball and slider.
Want to see our Dodge drive of the game? There it is, right down the middle. Ding, right off the pole. Beautiful. Moss's 11th and his 3rd career home run off Verlander.
Back with a fastball at 97.
Now the last time he faced him, he threw a fastball down the middle and he hit a homer. You would think that he wouldn't go back with that pitch, but that tells you how Verlander believes in his stuff and his fastball.
Off of Castellanos' glove, the 3rd baseman over on the right side of second base. So Moss is 2 for 2. He has 2 of the Royals' 3 hits against Verlander tonight.
Okay, here it is now. This is a little spinner, just like the home run. It was not a fastball that Moss hit out the pole. It was one kind of like that. So he stayed in the middle again, but this time maybe Moss's luck is turning around now. You know, a week ago, they would have caught that. So that's just the way baseball is sometimes. And he's happy. Should be. He's got him a couple hits. See if Alex can do something.
Verlander's thrown some really good breaking balls tonight, curveballs and sliders. His best curve tonight was probably to Alex Gordon. Had him set up for a fastball and snacked off a wicked curveball that just buckled Alex and would have buckled many hitters.
Oh, believe it.
Over the inside at 97.
Last at bat to strike him out. Here it was. Starts up letter high, ends up knee high.
One and two. So now the thinking game begins. That curveball isn't in the back of Alex's mind right now.
Yes.
And yet you have to protect yourself against a fastball that's been anywhere from 95 to 98 from Verlander.
Yep. So the way you want to think is heater, adjust to the curve with 2 strikes and stay short on it. Just try to put it in play and find a hole. But he's going to come with the heat.
Cracked his bat. Kinsler to Cabrera to end the inning. 5 innings at Kauffman Stadium. It's the Royals 1 and the Tigers 1.
Lineup. Okay, look where these pitches are. Watch your Fox Tracks Missouri Lottery. Watch this down and see this. They're out of the middle of the plate. This is where a pitcher wants to pitch, and we talked about that in the open of our show tonight. In order to beat the Tigers, you got to pitch to them, and pitch to them not down the middle on the corners. All right, so here we are, 3rd time through the order. This is where Hamill has had his most difficult time this season. 76 pitches plus. He's at 65 right now. Hopefully he can continue to hit the corners and keep the ball down and use the defense. So far, so good. Nice job.
Fouled back by Kinsler, who opened the game with a single and scored on a Cabrera ground out. The Tigers have 1 hit since the 1st inning. Hamill has set down 14 of the last 15. 0-2. Kinsler looked like he was guessing on something else other than a hard breaking ball.
Beauty. The pitch. Try it again. Swung at it once, he'll swing at it again. Ooh, he wanted to. Good spot.
Foul off the third base line.
Look at Rich down there. That form right there he used was fundamentally sound. Right at it.
Bonifacio was shallow and back into the right field corner for the first out. The Royals and Fox Sports Kansas City are offering a unique way for fans across the Midwest to enjoy a game here at Kauffman Stadium. It's the Raised Royal Fan Express. Next stop, Columbia on July 22nd. So coming up in 3 days. Go to Royals.com/Fan Express for more information. Alex Avila has flied out to center field and struck out. Curve in for a strike. Both pitchers tonight have very good command of all of their pitches.
And when they're on their game like that, that's not good for the hitter. It's going to be very difficult. You got to pick out the mistake.
And then a slider. So both Hamill and Verlander giving the hitters two different looks with their breaking ball. Almost identical lines except for the last category, strikeouts. Hamill has 1, Verlander 6.
Verlander, when you have that type of power fastball, you're going to get more swing and misses.
Out to Merrifield in shallow right field. 2 outs in the 6th.
But outs are outs. Talk to pitchers now, mainly veteran pitchers who've been around 6, 7, 8+ years will tell you it takes less pitches to not strike the batter out, so they'll just take the out. Don't worry about blowing guys away. But when you're young and you're strong, you want to show how hard you can throw, and you try to blow it by guys, you expend your pitch count.
He has been a ground ball and a fly ball pitcher tonight. Justin Upton with 2 down. He is 1 for 2. Upton singled in the first inning, helping set up the Tigers' run. That got Kinsler to third, and then Kinsler scored on the ground out by Cabrera. Two and 0. 75 pitches for Jason Hamill. And with a hitter's count, Merrifield shifts over toward the middle from his regular second base spot. And he got it through on the left side of second base. So he pulled it just like the Royals thought he would, but got it in between Escobar and Merrifield, and Upton has 2 hits.
The shifts are calculated gamble. It's what it is. They just try to get their hit charts that they get from their opponents, and they try to defense their infielders accordingly. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Some will tell you, though, that it works, like Richie Dower, the infield instructor for the Houston Astros, who shift more than anybody. I had a little talk with Richie. Richie's old school. Back in his day, he played, with Mark Belanger, and Belanger would shift. They didn't have big shifts back then, but Mark Belanger, a great shortstop for the Orioles, would pull him over, and he would shift, and Belanger would make up his own shifts. But
that was 2 or 3 steps, though.
Yeah, it wasn't drastic, but I asked him if it worked. He says, yes, it works. Okay.
Depending on who you ask, and Richie Dower sees his team every day, so there's no reason to doubt him. But if you look at some of the advanced defensive numbers, the Astros are on their own planet when it comes to shifts. I mean, they are far and away the most in the major leagues. Yep. But some numbers will say that it hasn't had a tremendous payoff for them.
You just saw where Miguel Cabrera gets most of his hits. If you want to be a career .325 hitter, that's where you hit the ball up the middle. And that's hard to do, to square up a round ball with a round bat.
Two and two. You know what I find fascinating about shifts?
What's that?
Is that last year the Chicago Cubs shifted the fewest amount of times by today's standards than any team. And don't you think of Joe Madden as a cutting edge, taking a risk kind of a guy?
Mm-hmm. Huh.
3-2. Ball got away from Sally, but Upton isn't going anywhere, especially with Cabrera at the plate.
What you gonna do here? 3-2, 2 outs. Got a hot hitter on deck, Castellanos. Miguel, he's not afraid of a breaking ball either. He's going to shoot the ball to right field, but I'm not going to give him anything straight because he could take you deep on that. Throw the slider down and away and hope he hits it at somebody.
Upton runs, and he struck him out.
Beautiful pitch. There you go. Don't give in to him. Very nicely done. at the K in game 3 of 4. Hamill doing exactly what Dave Island wanted him to do. To beat the Tigers, stay out of the middle. Watch this pitch sequence to Miguel Cabrera, one of the best hitters in the land. Look at the fastballs. He's staying all heat, but look, out of the middle, out of the nitro spot. All right, he's got to show him a wrinkle. How about another one? Yep, now that's beautiful. Look at Hamill, watch him. Oh, he clapped for himself as he walked off. I like that. He's saying, yeah, I was good there. That's right. Keep it up. Get him some runs here.
Merrifield, Bonifacio, and Kane in our Sonic Slam inning. Vicky Risco from KCMO is our contestant. $1,300 if the Royals hit a home run out of the park in this inning. 25 grand for a grand slam out of the park from Sonic and the Royals.
Yeah, you did. Okay, let's just get one hit before he gets two. Third base in, slash it right by him. He can bunt, so third baseman's going to come in. Cabrera's in on the corners. He does have one hit. All right, my bad. But how about the double? I'm like, you know, I know she wants to win some money tonight too. $1,300. That's pretty good. It'd be nice if he could go deep, but that double to tie him with Mike Sweeney would be pretty impressive, wouldn't it? For consecutive doubles.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tie him up with some firm heaters inside.
16 years ago, Mike Sweeney had 6 straight games with a double. That's a Royals record. Last night, Witt accomplished a double in 5 consecutive games for the 11th time in Royals history. That ball almost hit the bag. He's 2 for 3 tonight. And the Royals have their first leadoff man on. Well, there you go. 2-hit Witt.
She's good at sign making. Fox Traxmo Lottery shows you. There it was right there. Good pitch down low. Hang with him. Look at Justin. He's chucking and ducking. Good piece of hitting. 2-hit Witt. There you go. See if they can turn that into something. Little rally going on. Get something working here.
2 hits for Merrifield, 2 hits for Moss, and that's it. Both teams 1 run, 4 hits. Chopped out to Castellanos to second. Oh, close, but out.
That was close. Ball wasn't hit all that hard. Telling you what, it looked really close. I don't guess that Ned's going to ask for a replay on that. And that looks like it was a tie. But obviously, connoisseur of replay, Billy Duplessis, is one of the best in the business. And if he thought that that was replayable, they would have done it.
Runner at first with 1 out for Lorenzo Cain. He is due for a long one. Remember, he had that streak. He had 8 home runs in 13 games. That got him to 10 home runs on the year. And now he has 1 in his last 22. The Royals' run tonight is on a home run by Brandon Moss. Man, 97 with movement. 0-2 on Cain. 1-2. Two balls, two strikes. Kane will admit, and in his words, sliders away are my kryptonite. And Verlander, after jumping ahead, tried to go with a couple of sliders away. And he's had a good slider tonight, along with a knee buckling curveball and a fastball in the mid to upper 90s. Still 2-2. Lost the grip on that swing, so on a steamy night, not too much perspiration on the batting gloves, inside the batting gloves. Grabs a rosin bag and goes through his normal ritual of unfastening and refastening his batting gloves in between pitches.
He'll no-look that rosin toss too when he goes to the plate. Dangerous, but right now he's looking for a mistake. Verlander's not making many. He wants to drive when a gapper could score Bonifacio. Outfield fairly deep though. You get to the wall quickly. Oh man, watch out!
Wow, almost hit one of the security guards.
Got Rusty duck down there with that. Locane's been behind that fastball a little bit, but that right side, that line is wide open there on that right side with Cabrera holding Kane on. Heck, just a nice little shot down that line. He's trying to get to it. Try to get that runner to third base with Haas coming up.
And the count goes from 0-2 to 3-2. Verlander has not walked a batter yet tonight. Kane's next walk will tie his career high, 37 in a season. He did that 2 years ago. Bonifacio not running, and Kane gets that career high tying walk. So down 0-2. Kane is on, and the Royals have 2 on for Hosmer.
Very nice plate appearances. He was very patient. He took it. He didn't get his pitch, so he laid it alone. Let the line kept moving. Now let's see what Haas can do. You got Salvi to follow. Big point in the game here for the Royals.
Eric has struck out, and he's lined to short.
Okay, I agree with that. Get him on, get him, move him over, get him in, knock him in right here. Haas has a chance to break it open.
Slice to left field, and Upton runs it down. Bonifacio and Kane for a moment were convinced that that ball was going to drop, and they both had to hustle back to their bases, and that's the second time tonight that Hosmer is lined out. Another look at our sprint trivia question. The top 4 career strikeout leaders for the Tigers. We have Justin Verlander. We have Jack Morris.
Something tells me
Mickey Lolich.
It's from a long time ago.
How about the last 30 game winner for the major leaguers? Hal Newhouser.
Yeah, I knew that.
I was thinking Denny McLain.
Yeah, you know, the Tigers go back to 1901. Did you see Avila? he rolled over. Check it out. This pitch was way up and away, and Salvi got a piece of it somehow, and he spun Avila like a top. 360. Little pirouette. Way to go. That ball, man, I don't know how Salvi even got a piece of it. He was locked in on the heater, that's for sure.
Out at second base. Jorge Bonifacio gets picked off to end the bottom of the 6th inning.
Wow. Excellent move by Verlander. That was nice.
Baseball is brought to you by Ram. Make the most of your summer at the Ram Summer Clearance Event going on now. And brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Wow, talk about a momentum changer for the Tigers. You got a guy hitting over 400 off Verlander, and it's hard to put fault on Bonifacio. Give the credit to Verlander. He tricked the runner. Kinsler put the tag on him, no problem. They ran off the field before the umpire even called him out. What a nice pick. That's Verlander's 30th career pickoff. What a nice job. He kind of just lifted his leg slowly, and that made Bonifacio think it was okay to get that secondary lead, and by then he turned. That's crafty.
He wasn't intentionally deceiving the runner, was he?
He looked like it to me, and it worked. And there's 4 umpires out there, not one of them called a balk. Let's hope that that momentum going into the Tigers dugout. I mean, Salvador Perez is the hottest hitter in the planet off of Verlander. That's a turning point there. Could be, I hope not.
Oh, and 2 on Castellanos, who drove in 7 with 3 home runs in the first 2 games of the series. He is 1 for 2 tonight.
Boy, look at that. There's, see the dot again. You can see it. That deceiving pitch. Hamill doing an excellent job. Midway through the 3rd time through the order.
One ball and 2 strikes. Two and 2. Castellanos, Martinez, and Adduci coming up. So from 0-2 to 3-2, we saw Lorenzo Cain turn that into a walk against Verlander in the bottom of the 6th inning, down 0-2, eventually taking a walk. And now 3-2 on Castellanos. Hamill has not walked a batter. He has 2 strikeouts. Got a pop up. Merrifield calls for it and brings it down. 1 away in the 7th. Get your costumes ready for the Marvel Superhero Day here at Kauffman Stadium. Purchase the theme ticket to receive an exclusive Royals Captain America bobblehead. And your ticket to watch the Royals take on the White Sox, that is on Sunday. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Royals.com/theme tickets.
Handful of Hamill's first starts as a Royal, he would nibble around the plate and wouldn't just challenge hitters. There's a good example of how he's changed. He said 3-2, hottest hitter on the Tigers. Here, hit it, good luck, and I hope he hits it at somebody, and he popped it up. Early on, he would have walked him, but he's starting to trust his stuff and being convicted and pounding the strike zone, using that defense out there. It's one of Hamill's best starts, no doubt. Big time situation for the team right now.
One and one on Victor Martinez. Walks had been an issue for Hamill in his previous 4 starts. 10 in his previous 4 starts to that. He had 1 in 27 1/3 innings. 2-1 on Victor Martinez. Changeup. 3-1. Martinez has hit 2 on the nose. He lined to Merrifield on 1 hop in shallow right field in the 2nd inning, and then drove Lorenzo Cain up against the wall in center field for an out in the 4th. Slider in on his hands. Late breaking slider, 3-2.
It's one thing, you know, Victor, he's going to put the ball in play either side of the plate. He's a real professional designated hitter.
Same pitch, same result. Another foul ball. 95 pitches for Hamill. In his first 14 starts, he threw 100 pitches 2 times. 100 or more pitches 2 times in his first 14. And he's gone 100 or more pitches in each of his last 4 starts. And it looks like he is going to make it 5 in a row.
To be honest, don't make a mistake, but go ahead and throw a fastball in the corner, inside part of the plate. Stay in there on him. Tie him up. Pop him up. Try. just really like how he stayed out of the middle of the plate for the most part. He's pitched a nice game. It's a tough challenge here with a hitter like this. He's getting so many pitches. He's in swing mode here. You got to execute a precision like pitch on him. That's all right.
Not the worst thing in the world, because Martinez is going to slow things down once he gets on the bases, and Hamill will come out after 97 pitches. Left-hand batter coming up, Jim Adduci, and Ned's got Scott Alexander ready to go in the bullpen. So Jason Hamill goes 6 1/3 and gives up 1 run.
Excellent job, Ned Yost. I think the timing was right for this. Getting him out of there just in time. And the crowd loves it.
Effort, which was a good one. 1 run, 4 hits allowed to the Tigers. He departs with a runner at first base and 1 out. Scott Alexander is a Chevy call to the bullpen. On for the 2nd time in this series. He gave up a run in 2 1/3 on Monday night.
Hey, look, that's not too shabby, but overall he's done a heck of a job. That time that ERA under 3, heck, 2.27. Hard, heavy sinkers coming at you, 95% of them. That's exactly what he wants to. With 1 out, roll that double play. You mentioned it. Victor's not going anywhere at first base.
Ooh, Mikey Matuk is going to bat for Adduci, so both managers make a move here. And Matuk is 4 out of 10 in this series with a home run.
He's 2 for 7 as a pinch hitter. Matuk hitting 271 off a lefty's getting a chance here. Oh man,
3-pitch strikeout.
Alexander breathing fire. Saw what his buddy Hamill did. Said, you know what? Hit it if you can. Good luck to you. Look at the sinker. Look at the bird. Heck, you can see it all with that slow motion camera. That's a beauty. Good location.
Nice stash, huh?
Got a good one.
Alex Presley. Good pitch over the outside at 95. Presley is 0 for 2. Look at John.
That's a pretty good stat.
Yeah, he's got a little chin music going too, though. That is through the left side, so not hit very hard, but a base hit, and the Tigers have 2 on, 2 out.
That's the exact approach you want. If you're facing a lefty and you're a left-hander, don't try to pull it, just go the other way. Presley did a nice job of hitting there.
So Alexander gets the second out. He allows a base hit, and now Ned Yost is going to call on Peter Moylan to get the final out. Another Chevy call to the bullpen. On top of the 7th inning, and a very happy birthday to Michael Cummings, Assistant Director of Media Relations and one of the most eligible bachelors in Kansas City, the pride of Fargo, North Dakota.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
Way to go, Mike. Nice endorsement by my partner.
And also a happy birthday to 5-year-old Ronnie Meyer.
Okay.
Who's enjoying Royals baseball in Greenwood, Missouri tonight.
Way to go, Ronnie. Happy birthday, bud. All right, Pete, put out the fire here. 2 outs, sinker slider, get her done. That's it. Likes the slider that starts middle of the plate, finishes off the dish. It looks good to the hitter, hard to pick up. And there it goes. You get off balance. Hard to hit it. 2-seamer in, maybe you can a little jam shot here. They're going to go away. Yeah, they're going to try it again. Ooh, yeah.
Great spot. Man. Give Iglesias some credit for laying off that pitch.
He wanted to.
Right to the target.
You saw his hips just start to leak out a little. They were not ready to fall out. Now come with the high heater. Good call. Nope. He's trying to trick Victor Martinez, who's running at second base. And you see Salvi where he's setting up, holding his glove, all that. That's to disguise any type of relaying of positioning by Victor Martinez. That's what that is.
Out to Merrifield. Who just got him at first base.
Nice concentration by Whitley. Heck of a job by Jason Hamill. Way to pitch.
Our T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball break. News and notes. James Paxton. Big win against the Astros today. Excellent in his last 3 starts. Houston still reeling after losing Carlos Correa, but they have a huge lead. Sonny Gray, that's a name on the trading block. And Giancarlo Stanton has homered in 4 straight, 5 home runs during that span as he leads the league in home runs. Upton dives and misses. And Salvador Perez is going to end up at third base.
Oh, just what Ned Yost ordered up. A changeup. He hit it off the end of the bat. Upton came in, looked like it was going to be a routine play, but he misjudged it. He thought it was hit harder, but he hit him a changeup off the end. Now he's going to make a last-minute effort to try to catch it. Misses it. Look at the ball, though. The ball just deadens. That's good. It didn't kick off the wall and come back to him. That allowed more time. Of course, he was doing a little crab crawl there and for nothing. And look, now they got action here. Nobody out. Runner at third. A chance for Moose to give him the lead.
97 and inside for ball 1. Moustakas has flied to the warning track in center field and struck out. The infield is in halfway for the Tigers.
Come on, look up in the zone.
Too high. That was at 98. 2-0.
Verlander really has to do some pitching here.
Daniel Stump warms up in the Tiger bullpen. Verlander snaps at that throwback from his catcher.
Last time Moose was up, he swung 3-0. Let's see if he does here. Verlander threw in 4 straight fastballs in his last time up. The fans enjoying the game right there. He feels a run coming, maybe 2.
Base hit center field, and the Royals lead 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th.
Salvi got it all started, his first triple of the year. Moose, oh my, that ball is center cut 97. Like to see the hit speed on that. I'll give it to you in just a second here, but man, very nice and compact. Short to the ball, that ball jumped, and thankfully it did not hit Verlander.
Alcides Escobar is 0 for 2 so far tonight. Jumping on a first pitch slider. This run makes Jorge Bonifacio feel a little better after being picked off to end the bottom of the 6th inning with Salvador Perez at the plate.
No question.
0-2. Salvador Perez, arguably the best against Justin Verlander of any major league hitter. And he was up there with 2 on, 2 out in the 6th inning. Verlander and Kinsler executed a perfect pickoff play at second base to end the inning. But the Royals come right back in the 7th with a triple and the Moustakas base hit, and now a line drive right to Iglesias. 1 down. That was on an 0-2 pitch.
Verlander staying with his fastball. And it's getting hit hard. This command's not quite as good as it was earlier in the game with that pitch. Slider's been locating that pretty nicely.
Moss hit the pole in right field for his 11th home run in the 3rd inning, and he's also singled to center. Both times Verlander went first pitch fastball, second pitch curveball, and Moss both times jumped on the curve. He wouldn't do that a 3rd straight time, would he?
Verlander, he's all about challenging hitters.
Well, there's the first pitch fastball.
Moss, a streaky hitter. I hope he gets on some kind of roll right now. He needs to carry the ball club for a few games. As long as he can get hot. Stay hot.
Nope, back with a fastball. 1-1.
A little careful with that spinner.
And he's going to stay with the fastball. 2-1. And Verlander curses himself.
What a horse. And you know, Verlander, he's a gamer. He likes to step up to the challenge. He knows his name's been thrown out there. I mean, not by the Tigers, but he knows people are watching. And he's the ultimate pro. He wants to give his best effort every time. He's competing big time here. Now, fastball, count. Ooh, you got it by him. And when you have that plus fastball, you're going to throw it. You're going to take your chances with that.
With the count 2-2, the Tigers shift. And the 3rd baseman, Castellanos, that's him.
Right over here.
Way over on the right side.
Yeah, he ran across the diamond real quick.
Two down. 7 strikeouts for Verlander.
He's just staying firm away from him. He's not going to try to challenge him in. He stayed away. Fastball at 97, 98, 99. That's like a split second a hitter has to see it. That's why you stay with that pitch. That's way above average.
Was that a little gamesmanship on the Tigers there? I mean, usually you play a hitter to pull, and then you assume when he gets into 2-strike mode that he's going to spray the ball. But they went into extreme pull mode with 2 strikes. Breaking ball for a strike to Alex.
Yeah.
And if you're the hitter, aren't you up there thinking, okay, now they're stacking the right side. I'm going to get something to pull here, maybe something off speed, and he zipped a fastball over the outside. I mean,
you could think that way, but you know, I think Moss is good. He's got 2 hits tonight. I think he knows Verlander's been sneaking the fastball by him, that he was going to get one, and so he stayed locked in. But you start catching yourself thinking about that, watching where they're going to defend you with 2 strikes and a guy with that kind of stuff. You have no chance.
Yeah, I mean, didn't you used to, in the old days, go to the plate and the first thing you do is check the defense, right? Wouldn't that tell you what they're going to try and do with you?
If you're a hitter like I was, yeah. But if a hitter like Moss, there ain't a ballpark in America that can contain him. So he's a one swing guy.
Impressive. Those fans among the 30,105 didn't expect a souvenir tonight.
Not a baseball up there.
1-2 on Alex. Salvador Perez started the inning with his first triple of the year and the 10th of his career. Mike Moustakas, next man up, on a 3-0 pitch, singled him home. 2-1 Royals in the bottom of the 7th. Way upstairs, 2-2. ...104 pitches for Verlander. Now 105 for Verlander. They've been ready in the bullpen ever since he was at 94, 95 pitches, and we brought this up many times. When Jim Leyland was manager of the Tigers, the guys in the bullpen didn't even have their uniforms on when Verlander was at 90 or 95 pitches. It's the 11th consecutive start for Verlander against the Royals with over 100 pitches. And Alex battles back after falling behind 0-2. Full count, and now Moustakas is running.
Insurance would be a beautiful thing right here.
Slider. Royals get a leadoff triple from Salvador Perez. Mike Moustakas gets him home. 2-1 KC to the 8th inning.
Knocked in his 46th run with a little ground ball to second base. Moss hits his 11th. Tied it up off the fair pole. It was a beautiful stroke. Now this is past inning. Salvi triples for the first time this year. Upton almost got it, and it went to the wall. Salvi legged it out, got fired up, enough for Moose to say, all right, I won't hit it out. I hit it right out through the middle. That's right. That put the Royals on top, 2-1. That's where we stand here. Big game for the Royals. They got to have it.
Joakim Soria will get the top of the order. Kinsler, Avila, and Upton. It is a bounce back, he hopes, outing for Soria, coming off a blown save on Sunday against the Rangers. Royals ended up winning that game. In fact, Soria is coming off back-to-back blown saves, giving him 6 this year. He had 7 last year.
Huge 3 outs for him. Good first pitch, fastball down low, slow curve, slider, change up, and a split finger. When he gets 2 strikes on the hitter, likes to throw it to him. It's tough to pick up. Big chance for him here. Especially right at the top of their order with their best hitters.
2-1 on Kinsler. He singled on a bloop against Hamill to open the game and scored on a Miguel Cabrera ground out, and that's the only run for the Tigers. Three and 1. Hamill went 6 1/3, giving up that 1 run. Alexander and Moylan got the last 2 outs of the 7th inning.
Don't just throw it down the middle. Oh, hey, good. Tied him up. There you go. See if he can put the ball in play right at somebody.
Struck him out. Came back from 3 and 1.
Very nice, especially against Kinsler, who's been really hot. Kind of quick pitched in there. He threw the split finger. Kinsler was looking heat. Good pitch. Finished him off down below the zone. Especially as hot as Kinsler's been, he's not going to take 3-2. Good selection. Sometimes you use that hitter's aggression against him.
Back-to-back breaking balls. 0-2 on Avila, and his next hit against Soria will be his first. The best he's done in 7 plate appearances is draw a walk. Got him looking at a fastball.
Sometimes when you get down 0-2, you think, well, he's going to try to waste a couple of pitches on me. Soria went right after him, but good spot too. Stayed on the corner. Didn't throw an 0-2 pitch down the middle. That's important. Very nice job.
Justin Upton with 2 down, with Miguel Cabrera on deck. 2 singles tonight. It was scored a triple and should have been scored a triple, but it could have been played better in left field by Upton and ball off the bat of Salvador Perez. So as a motivated hitter at the plate right now. Yikes.
Yeah, be careful. And he tried to get up so quick, but he spun his wheels down there on the ground. That gave Salvi a little extra time to get there, and the ball was just deadened at the walls. Everything worked out perfectly there. the Royals.
Two and two. Justin Verlander has gone 7, allowing 2 runs, 6 hits, a home run to Moss in the 3rd inning, and an RBI single against Mike Moustakas in the bottom of the 7th. Still 2 and 2.
Nice little quick pitch there, and that's a very effective pitch because it's everything about the confrontation of a pitcher and a batter, the classic duel between the two in this sport. It's all about getting each other off balance. So that quick pitch Soria pulls up every so often is extremely effective. Keep her down.
And he got him. 70 miles an hour, and that means Miguel Cabrera gets a chance to bat with a man on.
Yep, little curve, you turn into it. 3rd time he's been hit this year.
Cabrera's 0 for 3 tonight. He drove in a run with a ground out in the 1st inning. Almost hit Cabrera.
Well, it's not much easier here. Upton had a couple of home runs in his career, so Cabrera has 1.
Back with the fastball at 93. I don't know if I've seen a series where Cabrera's had the swings like he has in this series.
A little bit more aggressive than he typically is. As long as he's missing.
Alex to the line and brings it down. That's a foul ball catch, and the Tigers are scoreless in the 8th inning.
Way to go, Jack. Excellent pitching there. Vila got to go.
in the first 2 games of the series, and Royals pitching has held them to 1 run, 5 hits in 8 innings so far tonight. If you can't catch the game on TV, you can stream games live on your mobile device. Download the Fox Sports Go app, log in, and stream the Royals. Bruce Rondon will get the bottom of the 8th inning, and he'll get the top of the Royals order.
Heavy 2-seam sinking fastball. Didn't sink much there.
And the numbers will tell you that not many pitches have been sinking so far this year.
No, haven't given up any home runs, so none have sunk over the wall, but they're finding their hits. 300 at 10.13 ERA. He just says that here it is. It's a mid to upper 90s fastball slider.
0-2. Witt is 2 out of 3. His last chance, we hope, to tie the Royals record with a double in 6 consecutive games. 3-pitch strikeout, 97 to put him away. And up comes Jorge Bonifacio, and he has a streak on the line. He has 2 streaks on the line. First of all, a 9-game hitting streak, which is a career high for him, and a streak of 22 games where he's reached base by way of a hit, a walk, or being hit. Down and away, ball 1. Elvin Herrera will get Castellanos, Martinez, and Mata. One ball, 1 strike. Cleveland lost, Minnesota won earlier today. 2 balls and 1 strike. Those 2 teams will not play tomorrow, and the Royals will be wrapping up a 4-game series with the Tigers. 2-2. Tiger bullpen has been a mess this year. Hasn't looked like it in this series. Back-to-back strikeouts for Rondon. Tigers have the highest bullpen ERA in the American League. 4.93. The team with the highest bullpen ERA in the major leagues, the Washington Nationals, who have an 11.5 game lead in their division. They also happen to be the only team above 500 in their division.
They can mash, and they got pretty good starting pitching.
So it was no surprise when they made a deal to get a couple of relievers from the A's. Right. Ryan Madson, the former Royals, Sean Doolittle, and they may not be done.
No, and you know, they were challenged last night. Madson went in there and he used Doolittle to close out in Anaheim.
Kane drilled to deep center field and up against the wall.
Wow, he raked that. Ball was crushed. Right down the middle. The fastball challenged him, said, here it is. Here's some 98. Locane was right on it. Good swing.
Tigers are going to put Eric Hosmer on. We were showing you earlier tonight when Nick Castellanos reached first base. He and Eric Hosmer were high school teammates, and now you got a couple of Little League teammates matching up here. Bruce Rondon and Salvador Perez in Valencia, Venezuela. Down and away, ball one. Salvador Perez has driven in 58 to lead the Royals. And if you go back a little over a month, he is a .500 hitter with runners in scoring position.
Challenge him with that 98.
Didn't mean to make contact, and that got Avila on his throwing hand.
Salvi, that was a hang and change. If he just swung at that and put a full swing on that, might have hit it hard. Just barely hit it off the end of his bat.
Got him on his biceps. Either way, ouch. Salvi taking a little extra time before getting back in there. He knows how that feels. Vilas, he has a tough night. He's gotten hit in the neck
early,
and now off his right biceps. Both times with Salvi at the plate.
Challenged him. May not get another one though. Salvador can tell himself that slider, if it starts out just a little bit inside, it's going to be a really good hit and pitch. Continue your path like you're swinging at a fastball. Sometimes you'll catch one that speeds up the bat. That's if it's out over the plate. Rondon ahead the count. Want to waste one maybe.
Left it up, and you got a fly ball to shallow left field. Upton brings it down. The Royals strand two. It'll be Kelvin Herrera trying to get the Royals their first win of this series. 5, 6, 7 hitters are coming up for Detroit.
In the 9th inning, and we've got plenty to talk about coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery will join me in just a little bit. In need of some starting pitching, and they got that tonight as Jason Hamill getting over the hump with a very impressive start. Plus, Salvador Perez got things going with his first triple of the year, 10th of his career. We'll talk about that, hear from Ned Yost, and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Brian?
Thank you, Joel. That's Billy Burns in right field for Jorge Bonifacio. And Kelvin Herrera, 19 out of 21 in save opportunities this year, including 11 in a row. Ned Yost shared with us before tonight's game that he would not have been available last night. He's been under the weather, had a severe sore throat. So still not 100%, but good enough to go tonight. And no room for error with a 1-run lead in the 9th inning. Facing Castellanos, Martinez, and Matuk. And Castellanos 5 out of 8 with 2 doubles in the past against Herrera.
Okay, challenge him with that heater. Fastball, slider, change. The fastball's upper 90s, the changeup's upper 80s. Slider's effective when it's down. Looking for save number 20. That would tie him for 5th in the league.
One and one on Castellanos. 1 for 3 tonight with a single to left field. Two and one. Herrera has 2 memorable firsts against the Tigers. His first big league game was here at Kauffman Stadium against the Tigers in 2011, and on his first big league pitch he hit Ryan Rayburn. And then a year later he got his first major league save against these Tigers.
Don't want to get hit by that hard fastball, that's for sure.
2-2.
Good location. Keeping that heater down. That's right at the knees or below. Salvi's thumb seems like it's stinging him a little bit here. Ouch. You would think with that velocity, and watch where Salvi catches it. He catches it right on the thumb. Very tough. Tough customer.
Not like he broke his bat. Escobar throws out Castellanos, 1 down in the 9th inning. Remember, every time the Royals turn a double play, the next day McDouble sandwiches are only $1 at participating McDonald's in the greater KC, St. Joe, and Lawrence locations.
Turn Castellanos' bat into balsa wood there. That sounded like that. I mean, hopefully that's the bat that he's been doing all the damage with. Get rid of that one. Give him a new one.
Victor Martinez is 0 for 2 with a walk. And his walk drove Jason Hamill out of the game tonight. Hamill was outstanding. 6 1/3 innings, 1 run. Alexander and Moylan got him out of the 7th inning, stranding a couple of runners. The Royals are just 2-6 against the Tigers so far this year. Mentioned earlier, Cleveland has lost, Minnesota has won, so if Herrera closes this out here, the Royals are 2 games back of the Indians in the Central. 2-1. Veteran Victor Martinez picked up his 2000th career hit earlier this month against the Indians, his first big league team. Foul outside of first base. He had a scare about a month ago. He went on the disabled list and was hospitalized with an irregular heartbeat. So he was out for a while on the disabled list. Herrera shakes off the slider. He wants to challenge Martinez with a fastball, and it's up and away, 3-2.
Victor's in his 14th year. He's seen a lot of pitches in his time. Came in this year a .301 career hitter.
One out walk. And we expect to see somebody pop out of the Tiger dugout. And it's going to be Andrew Romine.
Romine, he's not an exact base stealer, maybe a burner, but he's got 4 bags. He's been caught 4 times.
Mikey Matuk pinch hit for a Ducey with 1 out in the 7th inning and struck out on 3 pitches against Scott Alexander. And did that get him, or did it get Salvi?
I don't know.
That got something before it hit Salvi.
Playing umpire saying no.
Did it hit the knob, or did it get the handle of the bat?
It did. It's foul ball.
Hit the knob of the bat.
It did.
They got Salvi right in the face.
Matuk, though, you gotta give him a little bit of credit. He shook his hand, but not. It was too late. You could hear a little something there. Now it was a good acting job there. He tried to do it, but it was too late.
And it's reviewable.
Herrera losing a little bit of command here. Stay right down to Salvi's target. This is a big opportunity for the Royals here. God, they need this one.
Fastball at 94 from Herrera. That's about as hittable a fastball as you're going to get from him.
You know, still could be feeling some effects of his sickness too.
Sure. Romine runs, and he steals second base. So the tying runs in scoring position. It is 1-2 on Matuk.
Anytime a closer's out there, he doesn't really mind too much and pay too much attention to the runner, because that's not his. He's not worried about the runner. And Romine had plenty of jump. Salvi wouldn't have got him with a perfect throw. Closer wants to be able to take the hitter himself.
Deep center field. Kane all the way back. Gone. Mikey Matuk puts the Tigers in front with a 2-run home run to center field, his 2nd home run of the series.
One-two pitch. Herrera challenges him, and he hits a 2-run homer in 98. Short, compact, knew it was coming. Locane with a great effort over the wall, and got to credit Matt Tuck for that. I mean, that's incredible.
98 up and in, and he does that.
Exactly. Wow, the Tigers are just living right.
So that snaps the string. Herrera had saved 11 in a row. And the Detroit Tigers hitting a home run against the Royals. And Salvador Perez says, come out here and take a look at Herrera. So Nick Kenny's out there, and Herrera talked to him through his glove.
Furthest place in the yard.
So he's going to come out. Kevin McCarthy will come on with the count 1-0 on Alex Presley. Tigers lead 3-2 with 1 out in the 9th inning. Against Kelvin Herrera in the 9th inning, and the Tigers, who are already 6-2 against the Royals this season. He gets a fastball at 98 that was in and hits it to the deepest part of the ballpark.
Well, and that's a short, compact swing, man. Powerful young man, and that's a huge home run. Get that feel right there is unbelievable. That you beat the team's best closer in their ballpark like that. And the game's not over, but he beat Herrera there.
Kevin McCarthy will get all the time he needs, as Kelvin Herrera had to come out after throwing ball 1 to Alex Presley. 2.12 ERA for Kevin McCarthy in 12 games, and no home runs in 17 innings.
He'll be using a heavy sinker. Sinker, slider, change, curve. He's got 4, but he likes to go with that sinker, hit ground ball specialist. But that was a punch in the gut, that's for sure. You could hear the air leave the lungs of the fans here, man. They're like, oh no.
Yeah. I mean this in a good way, but Matuk went running around the bases like a little kid who just hit his first Little League home run. Nice. Plays with a lot of energy and joy, and That was a clutch home run against Herrera, who had saved 11 in a row. So 1-0 on Presley. McCarthy in for a strike. 1-1. Well, home runs, that's the name of the game for the Detroit Tigers. They don't hit a lot of home runs. They're not among the league leaders. Base hit into center field for Presley with 1 out. They have hit a lot of home runs against the Royals this year, but they are 8th in the league. They have only hit 4 more home runs than the Royals this year, but when they do not hit a home run, their offense dries up.
Yep.
And that was the case for 8 1/3 innings tonight. No home runs, and Mikey Matuk with a 2-run home run to put Detroit in front. Presley was running as Kane makes a play on Iglesias. 2 down with a runner at first. The Royals in the bottom of the 9th will have Moustakas, Escobar, and Moss.
McCarthy wants to hold him right there. Kittens are coming up the top of the order here. There's 2 outs. Don't give him any more.
Out to Merrifield. The Detroit Tigers got 1 run in the first inning. They were scoreless for 7, and they get 2 in the 9th. Moustakas, Escobar, and Moss coming up. Started, came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning and struck out on 3 pitches against Scott Alexander, but he delivered a 1-out 2-run home run to center field, and the Tigers lead 3-2 in the bottom of the 9th. And now Justin Wilson, who is 10 out of 11 in save opportunities. He'll get Moustakas, who has driven in a run, Escobar, and Moss, who has driven in a run tonight. Royals' first look at Justin Wilson in this series.
He's a big left-hander, 6'2", 220. Throws hard. A lot of life to his fastball.
Moustakas was looking for a pitch up that he could drive to perhaps tie this game, and it's Matuk making the catch in center field. Moustakas is 1 for 4.
So Matuk, he's hoping that it holds up so he can be a star, and watch his highlight all night tonight, all morning tomorrow. But and when he gets to the ballpark, it's over. Doesn't last long. But maybe Escobar could find a way to get on base. Wilson has 13 walks in his 35 1/3 innings. So his stuff moves. He's got such a good electric stuff that it moves all over the place. But Esky, he's not up there to walk. Had his 8th walk last night.
Two and 0. Brandon Moss hoping to duplicate what Mikey Matuk did. 2-run home run in the 9th inning if Escobar can get on. And it's 3-0.
There you go. Get a guy on there. Wilson, you know, he went to Fresno State and he was on their only national championship in their history in 2008. Had 19 starts for the champions that year.
Tying run on, winning run coming to the plate with 1 out. And Alcides Escobar has 3 walks in his last 5 games. A walking machine.
Yeah, that's highly unusual for him. Moss now has a chance with his power. Now he's hitting 367 off of lefties this year for sure. Now 2 homers. Pretty good numbers, sir. I hope that rally cap works. Never know.
Right center field, deep, off the wall. Escobar's around third. Back come the Royals. Moss is at third with 1 out.
There you go. That's called answering back. Moss with his 3rd hit of the game. Could tell by the sound he didn't quite barrel it, but he hit the base of the wall. And the Royals are saying, not so fast, Matuk. We don't want you to be the star. Moss having confidence against southpaws. Told you hitting over 360. He got him a pitch down and in at 96, and he drove it. It got in on him just a tad, but plenty enough to score Escobar, who was off on contact. Moss continued to go into third base. 1 out. Now the game is totally changed. Infield in, Alex Gordon has a chance to be the hero. What a hit by Brandon Moss.
Almost threw it to the screen. It's a double for Moss, and he goes to third on the throw home. Alex has really good numbers against Wilson. 3 out of 5 with a home run. One and one.
Outfield very shallow. With the infield in, they don't want Alex to doink anything in any of these areas right here, so they're playing shallow. In case it's a medium fly ball, have a chance to try to throw out Moss.
Mata gets behind it. Moss tags. Here's the throw. Royals walk off.
This game will pull your guts out and drag them along the dirt. It's just unbelievable. But Matt Tuck's home run off Herrera, punching the gut for the fans. Escobar gets on with a walk. Moss comes through with his third hit. Alex finished him with a sac fly. Wow. Never expected to see a win like that.
Walk-off number 5 for the Royals. They are 2 games back in the Central Division.
Can you believe it? Oh, man, you just never. No wonder Dayton Moore wants to hold on to his championship core. As Casey shaking his head with confidence there, players have it too.
Moss got the bucket before we could even get it to Joel. Take it away.
That would be the Salvador Perez version of a quick pitch with the Salvi splash. And Brandon Moss, what a night. Let's talk about that very quick comeback and take us through your approach and your thought process after Alcides Escobar draws the walk.
Yeah, you know, he's up there and he has a really good at bat. The guy missing a little bit, so you know he's going to want to get ahead of the next hitter. So just be ready. You know, I don't really, against a closer and against a guy that throws hard and a left-handed pitcher, you don't want to get behind. So just be ready for the first pitch and move on from there if you do get behind.
You have said so many times that you're most comfortable, at least early in the game, seeing a lot of pitches, but that approach changes clearly late.
Well, it hasn't been working out very well. So I've been trying to be more aggressive early in the count for a while, and you know the results aren't always there, but at least I feel like I get my money's worth instead of taking a lot of pitches and getting behind every single at bat.
Let's talk about this comeback here. This game can be so cruel. You've been fighting this team so hard to get a win, and you're close. It falls apart just a little bit in the 9th. How meaningful is it just to be able to come back and win the way you guys did?
Yeah, I mean, Hamill, he threw a great game. You know, they scratched one off against them early, and then we fought back and got ahead. But really, that whole last inning was one pitch. I mean, the guy stayed on a fastball from Kelvin really well. It was up in the zone, and he got the barrel to it. Tip your hat to that. Not many people get their barrel to that ball. So, you know, he got the barrel, and we know that we just got to come out and try to scratch something across to at least tie it.
Last thing, I always like to ask a guy after they hit a walk-off what the adrenaline's like, but you didn't really even have a chance to catch your breath getting to third, and then you got to sprint home. So what is that adrenaline like, even still at this moment?
I just wanted to score. You know, I'm not the fastest person, but I was going to give everything I had, and, you know, he was going to have to throw me out. There was no way you're going to wait around, so just make a good throw, and luckily I was able to get in there.
3-hit night and a huge comeback. Congrats, Brandon.
Thanks.
Brandon Moss getting it done here tonight. And guys, I joked with him when he came off. He was one shy of the cycle, and he said, who cares?
Good for him. It's been a tough year for him, but he's had a good attitude all year, self-deprecating, making fun of himself, but there's no making fun of what he did tonight. A home run, a game-tying double, and then scoring the game-winning run. We'll be right back.